Hey guys, I wanted to showcase a Splatoon Raiders build I've been using and adjusting throughout my playthrough of the game. This build is based on speed, mobility, and most essentially gadget cooldown reduction, to be able to continuously use gadgets, making it weapon independent. To be respectful of your time, here's the build in question. Not everything has been upgraded yet, so the individual gadget parts can still be improved, but the main idea is still relevant. If you want to understand a little bit more of the idea behind this build and understand why I use what I use, we'll jump into it right now. Okay, so the general idea around this build is to use as much gadgets as possible while still being able to have a large variety of mobility options. Keep in mind there are probably much stronger builds in terms of raw power, but this one is more targeted towards players who like being able to move around freely in a more fast-paced gameplay while still being able to output some pretty ridiculous damage. There are 3 gadget part skills that are absolutely essential for this build. Cooldown reduced for the individual gadget's cooldown time, other gadget cooldown, which reduces cooldown of other gadgets when used, and victory cooldown, which reduces cooldown when defeating a boss with the gadgets. Quite honestly, these 3 combined are already a very strong baseline for any customized build that you can think of. But let's demonstrate. The 3 gadgets I'm using are the dash bomb, flywire, and the blast boot. On those 3, my main damage output will be the blast boot, so the more we can use it, the better. Right now, if we have absolutely nothing equipped and we use the blast boot, we have a 9-second cooldown. That's very long. So let's start by placing some of the skills we mentioned earlier. Out of the 3 skills, this gadget only has cooldown reduced, for which the 5-star part reduces the cooldown by 30%. If we equip it and try it out, now we have 2-ish seconds of cooldown, which is already much better. Where do we go from here? The main reason why I'm using the dash bomb is that it can equip the other gadget cooldown that removes 10% of cooldown on other gadgets, and it has double trouble, which allows it to have 2 charges. So 30% reduction from the blast boot itself, then 10% and an additional 10% by using the dash bomb twice. We're already at a 50% reduction time. Now, in the same idea, the flywire has exactly the same 2 possibilities as the dash bomb with other gadget cooldown and double trouble. So we can add another 20% of reduction for using it twice. Putting it all together, if we use our blast boot, then all of our other available gadgets, we're down 70% of the cooldown time, and since the cooldown is actively going down while we're using other gadgets, we can essentially reach a point where the blast boot is directly reusable after consuming all of our gadgets. Let's take a look. Blast boot, then dash, then flywire, then dash, then flywire again, and blast boot is available. Ready to take this further? Okay, let's see what we can do. First of all, since our dash and flywire are gadgets we want to spam, let's start by simply slotting in the cooldown skills on them. Victory cooldown, and cooldown reduced, and for the flywire exactly the same, victory cooldown, and cooldown reduced. Then let's take a look at our relic powers, because there's a lot we can do here. First of all, as I said in the beginning, this is a high mobility build. We're going to be moving quite a lot, which means that the speed gadget recovery relic is pretty much a no-brainer to add to our build, since it will just naturally reduce our cooldown even more while we move around. Next is the thrill relic, which is very good for us because since we're going to be moving a lot and basically jumping in and out the packs of enemies all the time, we're going to be able to benefit from the added cooldown reduction from nearby salmonids. With this setup, you already have a very solid cooldown reduction baseline. Now let's talk about power. We're using gadgets a lot, so gadget power is important. There is one very good skill to have when using a lot of gadgets like we do, the next gadget damage. This will up by 60% the damage of the next gadget, and we can equip this on both our dash bomb and our blast boot. Since we're continuously using gadgets, we're going to have damage boost active a lot. Now, another reason why I chose the flywire here is for tank ability activation, which activates tank powers when used. Since we still have 3 slots available in our relic powers, we can take advantage of this skill to slot in both the power pro and the tactical pro, which will give us 20% damage boost, and fermentation, which provides even more damage. This basically allows us to have all 3 tank powers active, and since we have 2 charges of the flywire, we can keep these up basically continuously. From there, you can really fill the other slots available like you want. I do have recommendations though. For the blast boots, freeze is a very strong skill as the 5-star version will freeze 100% of the time. Explosion damage up, explosion area up, and explosive jump are also very good options in my opinion. For the dash bomb, it will depend on if you use your weapon a lot, but you can either slot in damage surge or some invulnerability or some added explosions. That's really up to you and what you like running. For the flywire, it's honestly up to you. I like running wire length up to be able to traverse the map comfortably, but you can choose damage over this if you prefer. Now, since we have one more free relic spot, we can choose how nervous we want our gameplay to be. I sometimes change this around between risk, which makes it so you continuously lose HP, but cooldown advances 16% faster when not in ink. Since we're using a lot of gadgets that makes us move not in ink and give us invulnerability time, it's the most efficient in terms of cooldown recovery, but you're going to be 1 HP all the time. Or you can go the more safe route and use all sets, increasing your damage by 20% when full HP. It's really up to you. Just to showcase a bit of the frantic gameplay you get with the risk relic, you can basically use gadgets all the time. And it honestly feels pretty amazing. Now, in terms of weapons, the good thing is that this build is completely independent of the weapon you want to use, so you're very free on that end. For the skills, I would however recommend some speed up, since we want to take advantage of the relic reducing cooldown based on speed, freeze that is very strong, and either close combat for short range weapons and long range for longer range weapons increasing weapon damage. The only other skill I would possibly replace close combat with is explosive ferment. Since we have all tank powers and fermentation active, we can benefit from even more explosions when defeating fermented salmonids, which, if we take a quick look here, activate the fermentation. Seems like a pretty nice explosion to have. Now, you can build your own playstyle with this, but you have some really good combos, such as, for example, using flywire and dashing back from the blast boots, which has the added benefits of being chainable in itself. Alright, thanks for watching guys. Hope this gives you some ideas to explore with your own builds as well. Remember to have fun. While this build feels good to me and fits my playstyle, you can very much adjust a couple things to make it feel better for you. See you next time.